Sophie Cunningham's injury scared everybody half to death, man.
So Sophie Cunningham went down with what did not look like the greatest injury.
Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White just dropped an unexpected update on Sophie Cunningham's injury. And it's not your usual she's progressing well kind of news. There's more to this story. Layers of tension and a few twists no one saw coming this preseason. If you thought Sophie would be back on the court with a little tape and a pep talk, think again.
She went down, rolled her ankle after landing on Ryan Howard's leg, which is not an ideal situation, not an ideal thing at all coming into the season.
Let's get one thing straight. Sophie Cunningham may not be Indiana's top scorer or flashiest playmaker, but she's absolutely irreplaceable. She brings the fire, the toughness, and sets the physical tone on the court. She's the one who makes sure no opponent ever feels too comfortable out there. So when Coach White gave an update on Sophie's recovery, it wasn't just about her health. It was about the identity of this team. Losing Sophie, even for a short time, isn't just about missed points. It's about losing grit, leadership, and the emotional heartbeat of the Fever. If you're hyped to see Sophie and the Fever back in action, drop a spicy Sophie in the comments.
Let's talk to this game. Number one, the starters for Indiana were okay, right? We ended up seeing a change in the starting lineup. We saw Sophie Cunningham get the starting nod. However, Sophie Cunningham had to go out of the game. I forgot what half that was, if that was in the first half or the second half. But Sophie Cunningham was coming down. She was in the air, coming down. She ended up rolling her ankle on Ryan Howard's foot. She went out of the game, was on the bench for a little while, and I believe she went to the locker room, but she did not return back.
The update wasn't all bad news, but it did reveal just how essential Sophie Cunningham is to Indiana's system. She's not the one grabbing headlines. That spotlight belongs to Caitlyn Clark. But Sophie's the one doing the gritty, thankless work that lets everyone else shine. She's not chasing fame. She's diving for loose balls, locking in on defense like everything's on the line, and standing up to anyone who tries to mess with her teammates. Her impact doesn't always make the highlight reels, but every coach and player knows you can't win without a player like Sophie.
Yes, Sophie Cunningham got injured, okay? She got injured. She landed on her ankle the wrong way. Let's go ahead and look through the play right now, all right? So here she is here, coming for the rebound, boom, and lands on Ryan Howard's foot the wrong way, and she was holding it, man.
When the injury first happened, there was a brief wave of denial within the team. Some thought it was just a minor knock, something Sophie would brush off like she always does. She gets banged up, shakes it off, and gets right back in the game. But this time was different. The pain didn't go away. The scans told a tougher story, and suddenly the team had to face the reality of playing, even temporarily, without their enforcer. It's like taking the guardrails off a roller coaster. Sure, it might still run, but it definitely doesn't feel as secure.
At that moment, everybody was scared in the live stream, man. I was holding my breath. My face was fixed a certain way that looked crazy. I mean, we were scared in there, okay? Now, the main thing is, yes, she twisted her ankle, okay? And she was out for the rest of the game.
Coach White didn't hold back. She made it clear that Sophie Cunningham's absence leaves a major gap. Not in points per game, but in grit and toughness. The kind that helps turn close contests into wins. Sophie's the one calling out defensive rotations, getting in opponents' heads, and hyping up a drawn charge like it's a dunk. She brings the edge, the energy, and the fight that gives Indiana its identity. Without her, the Fever will have to dig deep, and someone else will need to step up and bring that same level of grit to the floor.
Yeah, just giving a different kind of look and seeing what we might be able to do from that standpoint with Sophie's energy in the starting lineup and with DB's production coming off the bench. So, we'll probably continue throughout the course of the week tinkering a little bit. But preseason gives us a good opportunity to see what we like, because it's important to have a good starting group and it's important to have energy out and production off the bench.
But don't get it twisted. Sophie's not sitting on the sidelines feeling sorry for herself. She's already locked in. For her, rehab isn't just about healing. It's a mission, a checklist, a "you thought I was finished" kind of moment. If you followed her career, you know she's never one to sit back quietly. She's probably counting the seconds until she can crash the paint and throw her weight around again. This isn't a setback in her mind. It's just a delay. And when she returns, she'll bring every ounce of that bottled up frustration with her, turning it into the kind of basketball that leaves bruises and changes games.
Sophie's injury too, is there any update on that?
I don't think so. She was in there getting it in a cold tub, so she keeps saying I'll be fine, so I trust her.
What makes this situation even more compelling is how deeply Sophie's absence is being felt beyond the stat sheet. Yes, the Fever have their share of rising stars, but it's Cunningham who brings that intangible spark. The one who dives for loose balls like their treasure and talks just enough trash to rattle opponents. She's the emotional GPS of the team. When the energy dips, she cranks it up. When things go quiet, she brings the noise. Without her, Indiana needs someone to fill that void. And let's be real, that's no easy task. Watching the Fever without Sophie is like watching a band without drums. The melody's still there, but the rhythm's off. People call her a glue player, but that doesn't even do her justice. She's the shock absorber, the one who takes on the hits, the pressure, and the chaos so the rest of the team can stay steady. Without her, everything feels a bit rougher, a bit more exposed, a bit more human.
This game. So I hope that Sophie Cunningham is okay. Again, it looks like a rolled ankle, so hopefully it's not too bad. Maybe she's out for a day or so, we'll see. We'll find out an update from the Indiana Fever, but Sophie Cunningham did go out of the game.
So what does this mean for the immediate future? Coach White was calm but straightforward. There's no panic, but there is urgency. Sophie's return timeline is still uncertain, and while there's hope, there's also a clear sense of reality. The team is rallying, no doubt. Caitlyn Clark keeps putting on a show, Kelsey Mitchell is catching fire, and Aaliyah Boston is dominating on both ends. But everyone knows that without Sophie out there bringing the edge and physicality, Indiana will need to adapt, not just in terms of rotations, but in their overall mindset.
That's a positive thing. She was like trying to see if she could get back in the game. Obviously, they're not dumb. They're not going to put her back into a preseason game. But she was trying to get back into the game, which is big. Like if we're honest, that is genuinely big.
The bottom line, Sophie's absence might not be making headlines, but when she returns, it'll feel seismic. She's the spine of the Fever, the heartbeat that often goes unnoticed until it's missing. While the league obsesses over flash and finesse, Indiana knows the real magic lies in grit, and nobody brings that grit like Sophie. So as she rehabs with the same intensity she brings to every possession, know this, she'll be back. And when she does, don't expect a slow re-entry. Expect a storm. Sophie Cunningham doesn't ease her way into anything. She barges in, plants her flag, and makes it clear that while she may not be the star, she's the one keeping the lights on and the roof from caving in. Until then, the Fever will keep grinding, battling, and holding down the fort for their enforcer-in-chief. Because when Sophie returns, she's not just rejoining the squad, she's rebooting its soul.
But she is okay, all right? It did look like it could have been something worse because of how she landed, and it was like more so of an Achilles looking stretch instead of a twisted sideways foot. So that's what scared me. But nonetheless, man, it came out that it was a twisted ankle and she was okay, and she was just gonna sit out for the rest of the game.
Stephanie White, the unflappable tactician at the helm of the Indiana Fever, doesn't do panic. If anything, she probably heard the latest on Sophie Cunningham's status, gave a nod, and calmly went back to drawing up plays on a napkin. Because when it comes to Sophie, White knows it's not just about losing a scorer, it's about temporarily losing the engine that keeps the team running at full speed. While this isn't your typical "she'll be back soon" injury update, it also isn't a season-ending crisis. It's a layered update that sparks questions, fuels debates, and highlights just how different this team is without Sophie holding things together. Let's be real, Sophie Cunningham may not be the face of the franchise, that's Caitlyn Clark, but she's the fire behind it. She's the player who ties everything together. Part enforcer, part Energizer Bunny, part chaos coordinator. Her injury news hit hard, not because the team would fall apart without her, but because it loses its edge. Sophie doesn't just play, she stabilizes. She's the grit that makes the glamour work. When a game needs attitude, toughness, or someone to mix it up under the basket, Sophie's the one who gets her hands dirty. Her absence doesn't spell disaster. It signals a shift in the Fever's whole dynamic. Because Cunningham's the kind of competitor who treats rehab not as a break, but as an intermission in her own action movie.
Oh my God, Sophie's a dog. She just is, she's a competitor. She's versatile, so she allows us to do different things. Like, she plays with such a toughness. She's huge, and she's going to be for us all season long. But what she brings from an energy standpoint, she raises the level of play of everybody around her as soon as she steps foot on the floor. Hell, even on the sideline. I mean, her communication, everything. You know, she's definitely an X factor.
And we all know Sophie isn't looking for sympathy. While most players might spend an injury timeout with an ice pack and a quiet recovery plan, Sophie's out here plotting her return like she's coming off a secret mission. Her rehab isn't just physical, it's strategic. She's probably already watching film, studying every rotation, and texting the rookies to remind them to box out. In Sophie's world, this isn't a setback. It's just a loading screen before she powers back up and delivers a few more hard fouls and hustle plays.
That's Kiki Arifin, and I got to tell you, here we go with the smiling like you've done. I don't get it. This is the worst part of the WNBA. It is.
The second Sophie hit the floor after that mystic shove, she bounced back up like gravity itself had insulted her. No theatrics, no hesitation. Just a cold glare and a silent vow to come back stronger. That wasn't just resilience. That was classic Cunningham. She thrives on contact, takes pain in stride like it's a pit stop, not a roadblock. That's what makes her the perfect complement to Indiana's finesse. When the Fever need flash, they've got Caitlyn Clark, but when they need fire, that's all Sophie.
I mean, yikes. Kiki, the new Kennedy. A lot of people not happy. Demon Sophie, yeah, she showed up. Look at this. They're celebrating that. Okay. I mean, it's crazy. Here we go again. She's yelling while Kiki's laughing in her face. Never seen a rook have a vet so rattled.
Want to know how crucial Sophie Cunningham is to this squad? Take her off the floor, and the Fever start looking out of sync. The rotations don't mesh the same way. The pace feels just a little too tame. Sophie isn't just the vocal leader. She's the one who sets the emotional tone. Think of her like a defensive thermostat. When opponents start getting bold, she cranks up the heat. When the game gets messy, she dives into the chaos and finds rhythm in it. That's not something you'll find in stat sheets. It's something you feel.
First and foremost, they play so hard. They play with multiple levels of effort. They're both just tough as nails. They have length. They use their length really well. Their activity level on the defensive end and offensively. I mean, they're like mirror images of one another. I mean, the way that they can cut, the way that they can spread the floor, and what they bring on the defensive end of the floor.
She might not be dropping 40 every night, but she doesn't need to. Sophie's the reason others get to shine. She clears the lane, takes the tough charges, and barks instructions like a point guard in a power forward's body. And don't let that tough exterior fool you. Sophie is incredibly smart. Her basketball IQ is off the charts. Her instincts are razor sharp, and her ability to read the momentum of a game is elite. When she's on the bench, you miss that voice. When she's on the court, you feel her presence.
You want to make sure that your home court is special to you as a team, but you want to make it hard as heck for other people to come in here to Gamebridge, and they don't want to play here, right? And I think with that, as an energy player, you got to get your fans involved. That's our sixth man right there.
The analogy everyone loves. Sophie's the glue, but not just any glue. She's that industrial strength adhesive that holds everything together. Without her, the Fever are still a talented team, sure, but there's something missing. It's like a great band without the drummer, technically functional, but without that heartbeat. Sophie gives them that beat. She makes them tick. Right now, with her out, the team is trying to figure out how to keep the rhythm going until she returns.
We put Sophie in position where she was running the point guard, right? We put Lexi in position at the end of the game where she was running the point guard. And so I'm thankful to have players like that who are comfortable being uncomfortable and doing what's necessary for our team to find success. I mean, that's part of, one of our core values is be selfless. And sometimes that means playing out of position. And I thought they both did a great job of that, but really like their energy and competitive spirit.
Sophie's story isn't about being the biggest name on the marquee. It's about being the name you circle in the locker room when you say, "We need someone to set the tone." She's the kind of player who won't let her team quit, won't let the pace slip, and won't let opponents get comfortable. Even now, sidelined, she's probably still making her voice heard in practice, in the huddle, and on every Zoom film session. Her leadership doesn't shut off with an injury. If anything, it only amplifies.
I liked our aggressiveness. I liked the fact that we picked up, pretty much 94 feet, that they didn't get anything easy. I mean, it's not often that you come out with a win in games where you shoot 30% from the floor. And I felt like our defense really held, gave us an opportunity to get back in the game, gave us an opportunity to finish the game.
So what's next for the Fever? Without Sophie, they'll adjust, adapt, and survive. But they can't wait for their enforcer to return where she belongs, checking the opposing team's toughest player, talking trash with a grin, and diving for balls like it's Game 7 of the finals. The glue will return, and when she does, Indiana's whole energy shifts. One thing is guaranteed: Sophie Cunningham will re-enter the lineup the same way she always does. Loud, focused, and impossible to ignore. And if the Fever are chasing a deep playoff run, she's the one they'll need to light the fire. If you're excited for Sophie and the Fever to return to action, comment Spicy Sophie down below, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next one.